The real estate world is one of the most enriching, I would say, amongst the top 5 enriching businesses or sectors in the world today. And yet, a lot of people say that the women in that industry are just minute of the total number of the male that we have in that industry. It's a Women's Month. However, today we're dwelling more on the real estate sector, on how the women really manage to even make a mark, if they're even making a mark at all right now in the industry. And I have one person who will be deliberating this conversation and diving straight into it. It says Mrs. Tolu Onalaja. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Amina.
Yes. Now, just straight to it. It's the Women's Month. Is there ever going to be gender equality?
For me, I think we actually met this in the world. We're all born into that inequality. We all grew up in that environment where the male child is regarded as, superior to the female child. You even hear some tribes, who feel that if you don't have, a male child yet, you're as good as you don't even have any at all. So if we're going to change this perspective, if we're going to change this orientation, is not what we can achieve, in the twinkle of an eye. It has to take a while, and looking at trends, looking at civilization and a lot of things, we are beginning to come to see that, it will gradually fizzle away. It's gradually getting better. Like my children will say, they will tell me, oh, mommy, color doesn't have a gender. The newer generation are beginning to understand that, oh, men and women can be equal. There's no need for us, to look at one gender as being superior to the other. So I believe that over time, we will get over this and, we'll have a better world where women and men can play.
Growing up for you, before all this, before the business, before the successes and the challenges, how was it really?
Anyways, I happen to be the firstborn
Oh, really?
of my parents, and I'm the only girl. So I had 3
Eh.
younger brothers. They are all big boys now, all married with kids and all. And they all look big when, when people see me, they'll be like, is this your younger brother? I'm like, yeah. So growing up for me, I grew up all in the midst of guys. So I grew up to be like a tomboy kind of. So, and, that explains why I do a lot of things that I do. And some people will say, oh, you were supposed to come as a man, actually, because, so I think growing up, I was the firstborn, and then my parents were working class. So I was the one taking care of all my younger brothers.
Really?
So I took up the role of responsibility so early. As early as 7, 8, I was already taking care of my younger ones, taking them to school and all that.
Really?
So I think
Did you
that's,
think it was tough for you? I mean,
it
as a child
was,
then?
it was because, I tell people that my voice is very loud now. My voice is very harsh and coarse now because I had to shout all through because
wow.
of the 3 brothers I had. So maybe today the second and the third is fighting. Then the next day, the third and the fourth is fighting. So I was always screaming, shouting because I'm the only one at home. So I'm like, oh, don't wound yourself. Don't do this. Please, you guys should take care of yourself. So I ended up going, up that way. And it actually
Wow.
affected my voice. But all in all, it was a good experience, and funny enough, till today, they all respect me so much, even with their wives and all. If my mom will say you are their mom, because they all, if you say something, everybody just keeps quiet,
Wow, wow.
And so it's been fantastic.
Now, that, I mean, that actually just brings us. I mean, you just talked about your voice and the fact that you were, the sister, you were like the daughter mom
Yeah.
that had to, cater for her brother. Did that actually shaping the way you are right now, especially, amongst, your peers, fellow women in the real estate business?
Yes, it did a great deal. I can't even take that out for the fact that I started being responsible at that young age and having to, manage men. Do you know what it means for a woman to manage men? It makes you tough, it makes you bold, it makes you daring. So for me, it gave me an edge because right now, there's really no one I can manage, both male, both female, and all. So I would say it really gave me an edge. My growing up was a great advantage for me.
And so I mean, the journey into the real estate business. Tell me, was it always this glamorous? Was it always this, successful? Because it just looks like everything is just, glitz and gold all around.
Wow. Real estate. I always tell people that, like my husband would say, he would say, there is no business that doesn't have, its own challenges. But I say something to people. I said, real estate is one business that can make you today, can take you up there today, and it can also bring you down the same way. The same way it can take you up from is the same way it can bring you up down in one day. You can just imagine someone who is in a project and there's a collapse. If you look as though everything you worked for in your life just came down in one day, and it can actually ruin everything, that you're doing. So it's that delicate, it's that sensitive. Real
Have you
estate.
ever had an issue where you had building collapse?
No.
Any of your properties?
No. And God will not allow us to have any of that, because it's a very, awful experience, because we've had fellow developers who have had those experiences, and, I knew what they went through. We've never had such, but the business is too tough. At times, I feel like throwing the towel and just say, you know what? I'm just done.
Where did you get the money to start the real estate business?
Okay, so I used to do facility management. I did it for about a decade. And I left where I was working as the chief operating officer in 2016, actually. And I joined my husband. He started Revolution Plus in 2014.
Okay.
So I joined him in 2016. I remember him telling me, oh, you have so much experience. At 32, you had already become a chief operating officer. And so he felt, and you run, a business that has over 2,000 staffs under you. I believe that if you bring in the structures and your experience and all, we're going to make this, we're going to just create.
So the mutually beneficial
relationship.
Yeah,
but honestly, when I was leaving, I told my husband, I said, you can't pay me. I have to resign and come and join you to build. And he says, let's build this together. This is our future. Let's build it together. And so I left and joined, and I started from the administrative part, of course, the office part, putting in the structures and all of that, before I started, going into sites, projects, and all of that. And then when it came to funding, God has just been the financier of Revolution Plus. There was a book that, we're writing on from zero to hero, starting from nothing to becoming something.
Now, a lot of people say that you are bossy and unapproachable. And the questions I want to ask today is, who is Tolu Onalaja? Who is Tolu?
Yeah, thank you very much, Amina. So, like I said earlier, growing up for me was growing up amongst all guys, like I said, and, that affected my voice a great deal. And so when you hear me talk, the first thing is you think, oh, this woman sounds very tough. The voice sends some kind of communication to some people. They feel, like with the tone of a voice, maybe she's just going to be a bossy person. She's just going to be unapproachable. And then, of course, the way I carry myself. So there's a tendency for people to just judge, people from afar. But I'm someone who I'm a straightforward person, very upright. I don't like to cut corners. A very focused person and a very passionate person. And when you have some of these qualities, people won't like you. People like people who they can, cut corners with, people who will. But if you call a spade, a lot of times, you won't be on that light where if you are a man pleaser, you want to please people, you just want to be in everybody's good books. You won't have issues. But if you are just on your lane, you want to maintain your facts and your beliefs, not everyone will like you. But like I always say, like people who now come close to me, I remember some of my staffs, they'll be like, when you first joined Revolution Plus, you would think that ED is the hot. But when you now start working, you now feel that Easy is the most easiest to work with, But the first impression they have is, they go by my look, by my voice, and they just think, oh, she'll be unapproachable. Then later they will say, we love you. When I leave the office, or I have to say, okay, I'm not just going to be in Revolution Plus, I'm going to be in another business. You see all of them begging me, Edie, please, we can't do without you, please. You are
so you actually had time where you actually wanted to leave Revolution Plus?
No, not so when we started other businesses, I wanted to give those businesses more of my attention because they were just coming up. So I had to tell Revolution Plus, I'm just going to give you 2 days of my week, and I'm going to give the other business the other days, and then they go like, please, Edie, don't leave us, Edie, don't leave us, and all. So I'm actually, a lot of people have that impression, but I'm actually the most, to know me is to love me, and that's the truth.
Tell me about,
Because I was born on Valentine's Day. I'm a
Yes,
lover
yes.
baby. I
Aye.
love with the whole of my heart, and I can care for people a lot.
I have.
That's the truth. Yeah.
Did it affect your marriage? I mean, the issue that happened. Did it affect your marriage at any point in time? Because it's quite a number of information vibe we got was, oh, that's again. I mean, based on what has happened.
So it didn't even move me one bit. My friends were like, oh, these people don't know Tolu. Assuming they knew her, they would just not even have bothered. Number one, I asked myself, I said, I married my husband 18 years ago, 18. Meeting him, a young man who was just, trying to start up life. And we married into a face my face your house in Akko Street in Satellite Town. And I knew how we were together. And actually, that's one of the things that made us bonded. Now, I asked myself, so when my husband, he didn't toast you, when he had 2 shirts and 1 trouser, when he was a nobody, how come it's only people who have names that cheat, that you claim they cheated you, they toasted you, they have chicey, they did this and they did that? Why have we never heard any lady talking about, so the guy who was toasting me is one Agberu or one Molue guy? Why is always, so if my husband did not cheat on you, he did not cheat on me when he was poor, why do you think I want to listen to gist? The truth of the matter is, a woman controls her home and she has the key. For me, I have the key. I have my home. So nothing moves me. I run things. You know when you say you run things?
Run things. Things don't run
so for
you.
Me, if you say my husband cheated you, you did Sarah. You just did Sarah. As far as I'm concerned, you did Sarah. For me, I'm in charge of things. I call the show. So I don't bother. And of course, I have my nails to pray. I have my nails to settle things. So I don't allow those kind of things move me. It didn't move me. We didn't even have that conversation for one day. Like, it wasn't a conversation. We were just flowing. And like, sweetheart, in fact, he made the love even stronger.
Amazing, amazing.
And so in 2017, we actually faced a major challenge, in the business. And I remembered we were about 8 developers that was affected with that issue. I know some developers who actually left the country or stopped doing real estate business, actually collapsed the business because of that challenge. But I noticed after that challenge, we became bigger as a brand. So my words to people, you want to be successful, you see challenges as a stepping stone, because there's always light at the end of that dark tunnel. So just stay in there, don't give up. Even though it looks tough, you keep doing it, keep pushing. And another thing, I'm an hard worker. Nothing in life comes easy. You want to be successful, look at successful men. I ask my staff, you are sleeping. How many hours do you sleep? You are sleeping half of your life. You are sleeping. When successful people who have made it are, keeping it. And sometimes I feel the 24 hours is not enough for what I want to do. So you need to be hardworking. Success doesn't just fall on people's laps. Sure. God rewards hard work. So if we're going to call God, make sure that you have done your part so that God, will crown that effort that you've put in. So hard work, diligence, staying focused, not cutting corners, doing the right thing at the right time, always staying on the path of truth. Those have been, the bedrock that has, kept us going, kept us moving, even when, I remember I just told myself, I said, it's God that vindicates. So God will always vindicate you, but make sure you do the right thing. You have a conscience. Let's even say you're not a Christian, but we all have conscience. So let's do, the right thing. Let's be focused. Let's not cut corners. Let's be diligent. And I tell you, God will always crown all those efforts with success.
Well, it's been an amazing time speaking to a woman, a strong woman in the real estate business on the Amina Atairu show. Yes, what we always do here is to ensure that we get the right answers to the questions that you ask us. So you send us on a trip and we find the answers. It's the Amina Atairu show, guys. And then, of course, you can always reach out to us by sliding into our DM. It's Amina Atairu there across all platforms. And we'll definitely talk to you. Until next week, same time, when we have another chart or another answer to that very important question, please look pretty and stay handsome.